yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Yeah, we ran out of patience. Boil up with the cold hard hatred. I can feel the vibration. Feet in the streets, it's a new sensation. I wanna break faces on the pavement. I wanna make greatness look complacent. Adrenaline awakened, I can taste it. We can make an impact, grab and then take it. Like a disease, bring to their knees. Pain for their disease. Just like a weed.
The month of June has officially concluded. Fuck Pride Month. Now we on to the most patriotic month of the entire year, and we are getting down and dirty, into the nitty, into the gritty. I am all hyped up. I'm ready. I'm rocking, and I'm rolling, and I just checked my calendar, and according to the calendar, it says that Saturday! You know what that means. We're live! Ladies and gentlemen, I'm the one and only DJ Storms, and I would like to welcome each and every single one of you back here to the greatest fucking show on earth, streaming live on 4 different platforms across 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different accounts, and we got a lot of good material to discuss here today. We are going to get into some of the hottest wrestling topics that we got. As of course, you already know who I am, Mr. Controversy, and the operator of the best damn Twitter handle, shit. Do you smell that? Do you know what that is? I'm going to tell you what that is. That right there is the smell, the succulent smell of pure motherfucking excellence. Wait for it. Wait for it. Two-man kind. And this is the official Lightning Flash update for Saturday, July 1st, 2023. I didn't even notice. I put my fucking water right here. What the fuck am I doing? What am I doing? Now it's in the right place. And we have a lot of material to dissect here. I greatly appreciate every single one of you taking the time out of your Saturday mornings to join me. Yes, I know. It is very, 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 very early. I'm well aware. I understand that. It may not be too favorable, but I mean, fuck WWE for doing all these fucking international shows. So now I gotta adjust my schedule, and I gotta go live in the morning as opposed to the afternoon. I know Hooligram's probably kicking me. He's like, motherfucker, it's 7:30 over on the West Coast, and you're going live at 10:30 your time? I'm sorry, Hooligram. I'm sorry. Either way, We have a lot of material to go over, including reports on NXT being featured more on the main roster. Man, I wonder why. We also got what's going on with the Elite and CM Punk and more news on that. What's going on with FTR and the Elite? What is their status? Are they cool? Are they not cool? We're also talking about Triple H not being happy with how Vince McMahon has been changing the shows recently. I mean, no shit. And on top of that, Triple H and Nick Khan are now trying to stop Vince McMahon from making all of these changes. Yeah, good luck with that. Good luck with that. On top of that, we're going to go over Raw, Dynamite, SmackDown, and Rampage. We got Collision tonight. We got Money in the Bank at 3. A big weekend of wrestling. Things are indeed heating up as we enter into the second month of the summer, the most patriotic month, one of my most favorite months, minus April, because April is the month where, the most important figure in the wrestling community was born, and I came into this world, and I graced this world with my uncontrollable awesomeness. Anyway, we have a lot to get into, but before we get into what we're going to get into, thank you to Hologram, thank you to Super AJ Styles, Nick, thank you to Adam Carl, thank you to Raphael and the Final Hoss. You guys are awesome. Greatly appreciate all the support. Thank you very much for spending your Saturday mornings with the devil himself. Please make sure, if you haven't already done so, to follow me on social media, whether it be on Twitter or Instagram. That is at HistoryMakerDJS. One more time, at HistoryMakerDJS, both on Twitter and Instagram. It is incredibly vital that you do so. That way you'll get all the updates from me. You can also add me on Facebook for collaborations and business inquiries. Please send me an email. My email is, of course, StormsTakeOver@gmail.com. Like the official DJ Storms business page, and I may just send you an invite to join the official DJ Storms Posse group on Facebook. It is only for the elite members of the DJ Storms Posse, and we are only 2 members away from 150. That's right, only 2 members away from 150 members of the DJ Storms Posse Facebook group. So please go and check that out. Also, go and check out the Rewind for AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling Forbidden Door. That link is in the description. I flew solo on that excursion, and it was a great stream. We went through a lot of good things. We talked about all the great matches that took place on Sunday evening and many, many more. We also had the rundown this past Thursday with my man Lil Stevie, who is creating his own wrestling YouTube channel, his own show called Let's Talk. And I am going to be his first guest on the show when it comes around. He is currently working on that right now, and I'm very, very happy that he has decided to pursue that because he's got a lot of wrestling knowledge, and I know for a fact that it is going to succeed big time because he has a lot of passion when it comes to pro wrestling. So if you guys missed the rundown for Money in the Bank, if you want to go check that out after the stream is over, you will have about 2 hours to do so. The stream went about an hour and 22 minutes. Plenty of time for you to see our predictions before we get to the Money in the Bank pay-per-view today at 3 p.m. Eastern Time live. Please make sure that you hit the like button no matter where you're watching it from, whether you're watching it on Facebook, whether you're watching it on YouTube or Twitch or Twitter. Go and like the stream and be sure you share it out on all platforms, social media, whether it be Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, Tumblr, Snapchat, TikTok, whatever social media platforms that you may be using. It is very, very vital that you do so because everyone needs to wake up with a good old heaping dose of DJ Storms. You know, DJ Storms gives everyone energy on their Saturdays, but when it's in the morning, it's even better. You get that shot of adrenaline in the morning with yours truly. Please make sure, if you haven't already done so, hit the subscribe button, whether it be on my channel or the Hardcore Sports channel, because we are getting closer and closer to 1,000 subs on the Hardcore Sports channel, and we're looking to get to 2,200 subs on my channel. We are looking to be the #1 brand for all sports analytics when it comes to hardcore sports, whether it be UFC, WWE, AEW, football, baseball, basketball, hockey. Doesn't matter. You guys want to support hardcore sports, and of course you want to support me because I'm the greatest thing going. I mean, if New Jersey didn't have me, it would have absolutely nothing going for it because this is a liberal shithole. At the end of the day, I am the number one thing in New Jersey, so if you want to show me some love, please make sure you hit that subscribe button and show Hardcore Sports some love. We are streaming live on the Hardcore Sports YouTube channel right now. Of course, after you hit the subscribe button, whether it be on my channel or whether it be on the Hardcore Sports channel, you better hit that notifications bell with a huge coup de grace because that way you're going to know whenever I pop up on YouTube. Because whenever I pop up on YouTube, oh, baby, it is the best time to be on YouTube. Do you know why? You know why? Because it's the only time that you are going to get to see this so glorious, this succulent sideburn chin strap combination and this beautiful mustache right here. Recently just touched it up yesterday, and I am looking fly. I am looking so damn fucking fly that I gotta take out this beautifully crafted black magical ace comb. Look at how awesome that shit is right there. Picture perfect right there, and we're gonna light it up right here on the LFU with a little and a dash of and a whole lot of I'm telling you, baby, because just like a succulent chicken bacon ranch Subway sandwich, which I will have later today after I work out for lunch, succulent sideburn chin strap combination and that succulent chicken bacon ranch Subway sandwich, I am just so good. I am the tastiest snack in the IWC. You know what I'm going to do? For my next t-shirt, I think I might take a Campbell's soup can, a picture of a Campbell's soup can. I think I'm going to Photoshop my face onto the can and put the flavor of the soup is Stormsmeister Supreme. And that's going to be the next t-shirt. And don't worry, I will be putting good on there as well. That's going to be my next t-shirt. Someone clip that so I do not forget. Please, someone clip that so I do not forget. Anyway, let me fix up this pompadour right here because this pompadour, it is worth more than the cardboard boxes that many people call houses in 2023. Look at that shit. Look at that. Anyway, enough of the self-brand promotion and the advertisements. Why don't we get right into the festivities here? We got ourselves some news, rumors, and reports going down. Let's start off with a report from this past Sunday at Forbidden Door. Fightful Select reported that after Forbidden Door last Sunday, it was noted that the Elite and CM Punk were kept on completely different sides of the building before the show. Obviously, because of what the Elite had going on with their lawyer, and a lawyer is apparently involved in this whole hullabaloo, to a point where we need to keep these two individuals, or at least the Elite, which is Hangman, the Bucks, and Kenny Omega, separated from CM Punk, although I'm not sure if Hangman needs to be a part of that because he wasn't involved in the brawl. He wasn't even there. Either way, the whole thing is really just becoming ridiculous. I know it may not seem all that crazy, and shit really isn't hitting the fan anytime soon. You know, no matter what Dave Meltzer wants to report, I know for a fact that the backstage culture is a hell of a lot better than it once was. Andrade even confirmed that, and it's not him being a company man because he doesn't give a fuck. Andrade, at the end of the day, I don't feel like he would lie. I feel like he is a genuine individual that would tell the truth, and he would be honest if there is something going on, because a while back, he didn't really give a shit if he got fired. Now he's being used, and now he's doing his own shit with the House of Black, which probably is going to result in a match with LFI in the House of Black for the trios titles at some point, which I have absolutely no issue with. I think that's going to be great. I think that's going to be awesome. But at the end of the day, the whole scenario with CM Punk and the Elite, it really is becoming a little bit ridiculous to a point where now we have to keep them separated. I don't know. I really don't know what's going on. I have no idea what's going on with the lawyer situation and who's not supposed to see who. But if anything, if I'm Tony Khan, I'm saying, all right, enough of the bullshit, enough of the legal shit. You 5 individuals are going to sit down and you're going to talk this shit out like fucking men and you're going to do business. Now, I do believe that they will inevitably do business after this Blackpool Combat Club and Elite storyline is done. But I mean, the more reports like this that come out, the more ridiculous people are going to look at this scenario. It has really become an entire mess of a situation that realistically should have never happened. Both parties were in the wrong, but at the end of the day, now it is up to these parties to get shit right, and especially Tony Khan. I love Tony Khan. I love what he's done, but he really needs to put his foot down and just tell these individuals, sit down, talk it out like men, do business, enough of the petty shots, do what you need to do, and make money off this for the benefit of the company. That's what we need. That's exactly what we need, and we need that shit ASAP. That's all I got for you right now as it pertains to that. Really nothing over the top. It seems as though Dave Meltzer's reports, or whoever's feeding Dave Meltzer these bullshit scenarios, these bullshit stories regarding the backstage culture not being up to code and the locker room being divided, it seems as though that shit has died down for the time being. Shit's died down after Forbidden Door. We'll see what happens going forward, but AEW, they're continuing forward with a lot of big-time material. We got Blood and Guts coming up, the Owen Hart Cup tournaments, they're continuing. We have Chris Statlander doing her thing with the TBS Championship. We got MJF and Adam Cole in the Blind Eliminator Tournament. A lot of tournaments, a lot of unpredictable scenarios going on in AEW right now. By the way, how do you always manage to join the good moment? Because you and I are mentally connected. You know when I'm going to hit that You know when I'm going to hit that, Billy. And when I hit that, you just have to jump on because that just sends energy pulsing through your veins. That's why. Moving on here, we got ourselves a report from Better Wrestling Experience, who's actually been pretty credible as of lately. Better Wrestling Experience came out with a lot of reports over the course of the last week. One of these reports concerned NXT. He stated that NXT will be pushed much more in the coming months on Raw and SmackDown. The reason being is that there is a possible chance that the company could do a 3-brand Survivor Series this year, similar to what they did in 2019 when we first had NXT show up on the USA Network and they did Raw, SmackDown, and NXT all under one roof for the Survivor Series. That ended up turning out to be a pretty decent Survivor Series, even though some of the matches were overly fucking convoluted. I'm going to throw it out there for you guys. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. This is a really, really shitty scenario. Not because the talent on NXT is not good. There's a lot of great talent on NXT. We already know that Tyler Bates fantastic. We already know that Dijak and Dragunov and Carmelo Hayes and Wes Lee. Gallus is great. And the Creed brothers are very good. And who the fuck else? Dragon Lee is fucking great. Tiffany Stratton is fucking great. Blair Davenport, Roxanne Perez, Nikita Lyons could be coming back anytime soon. There's a lot of great talent on NXT. There really is. The talent portion of this is not the problem. It's the agenda behind it that's the issue. And I've already discussed this. Nick Khan wants to make NXT a legitimate 3rd brand. You had that. You had that back in the day when Triple H was running it. And what did you do? You fucking destroyed it. You put it on the USA Network, and as soon as WrestleMania 36 was over, when Charlotte won the NXT Women's title from Ripley, everything just went downhill from there because Vince McMahon started infiltrating NXT. We started seeing more of this sports entertainment garbage. Shit was not good. Shit was not good. It just didn't feel right. You could sense the change, and it wasn't a change for the better whatsoever. Things were not treading in the right direction after WrestleMania 36 in 2020. And I'm not even going to blame the pandemic. Some people want to blame the pandemic for destroying NXT. I'm not even going to blame the pandemic. I'm not. Look at AEW. AEW made the best out of a shitty scenario. AEW shows were the best shows out of the pandemic era. Nobody could touch AEW shows during the pandemic era. They made the absolute best of a worse situation, and it almost came to a point where I almost didn't even realize that we were in a pandemic during AEW's era in Daly's place. I didn't. I really didn't. But now we got NXT as its own third brand, or at least a third brand that Nick Khan wants to make it into. I appreciate the fact that they're showcasing talent on NXT, but after the history of Vince McMahon taking NXT talent, calling them up to the main roster, and just destroying them and burying them, the likes of Sanity and the Authors of Pain and Ember Moon and Andrade and Malachi Black and Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland and Pete Dunne and all these fucking people. All these fucking people. HBK is essentially Bruce Pritchard 2.0. He don't know what the fuck he's doing down there. Now you know why he fucking blocked me. You want to make NXT into a legit third brand. Meanwhile, you have conditioned the audience on the main roster to think that NXT is inferior to Raw and SmackDown based on prior history. You have absolutely destroyed any credibility that any of these NXT stars have generated for themselves coming up to the main roster. There have only been about maybe 10 call-ups out of probably, how many, 200 plus call-ups that have actually gone on to have lucrative careers on the main roster. The only NXT call-ups that have had lucrative careers are The Shield, the Four Horsewomen, Asuka, Kevin Owens, and Sami Zayn. That's it. Everyone else, at one point or another, was fucking dead. You're lucky that Triple H was able to rejuvenate Finn Balor and Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley. I guess we may as well include Rhea Ripley as well. 11 stars, that's it. And if you take out The Shield and the Four Horsewomen, you can count on one hand how many stars were made coming up from NXT. 98% of the superstars and the pro wrestlers, the talent that came up from NXT were fucking buried. So now you want us to care. Now you want us to fucking care about NXT after all these years of destroying the credibility that Triple H built for these individuals. Triple H gave you diamonds. He gave you diamonds on a silver platter. And what did you do? You disregarded them because, oh, we didn't create them. Oh, we didn't find these diamonds. We didn't generate this. We didn't come up with this shit. Why exactly should we use it? Oh, it's bullshit. It's bullshit, Bruce. We're not going to use that, pal. We're not going to use that, Hunter, because I didn't create it. You don't defy me. You don't defy the almighty Vince. It's exactly his thought pattern. Why would anyone care? Seriously. Why would anybody give a shit about the NXT brand after Vince McMahon has destroyed the majority of the credibility that these call-ups have? Every single individual, minus about 10 or 11 people that came up from NXT, has been fucking destroyed. Where are they now? They're either jobbers or they have gone elsewhere, to New Japan, to Impact, to AEW, and they are succeeding elsewhere. If they do the Raw, SmackDown, NXT format for Survivor Series, this would pretty much be going backwards. It would be going backwards to the same lazy format that NXT, Raw, and SmackDown go with going into Survivor Series. Vince McMahon's not going to give a shit. They're just going to build it around brand warfare with no stakes. And on top of that, Vince McMahon is looking to get rid of War Games because he didn't create War Games. War Games made Survivor Series great last year, and now they're looking to get rid of that. This would be a terrible, terrible fucking idea. I really do hope that this is not the case. Really. It doesn't matter how much that they push NXT on the main roster. No one is going to give a shit about it. No one. NXT right now is the worst brand in all of pro wrestling. It's the worst show on television. Rampage has been better than almost all of WWE programming. And barely anything happens on Rampage. But at least on Rampage, we get some solid in-ring action like we got this week. We got some solid in-ring action on Rampage this week. Wasn't a blow-away show by any means. But if you were to compare Rampage to what we got on SmackDown, even with a great crowd in London, SmackDown was terrible outside of the opening match and the main segment on the show with the Bloodline. That's it. That was the only two things that was worth going back to watch on SmackDown. And then we got Monday Night Raw. Monday Night Raw, man, that brand is fucking dead. No one gives a fuck about Raw. You know what? You know what was the best thing that happened on WWE TV this week? Baron Corbin brought back the Lone Wolf on NXT for his match with Carmelo Hayes. It was the best fucking Baron Corbin match that we've seen since his match with Chad Gable in the finals of the King of the Ring tournament back in 2019. Think about that. Baron fucking Corbin was the best thing on WWE programming this week. How fucking ridiculous is that? And that wasn't even a Vince McMahon thing. Triple H made Baron Corbin bring back the Lone Wolf. And you know what? When I saw him wrestle Carmelo Hayes on Wednesday, he looked more motivated than ever. Moving on here, I got a report from Dave Meltzer regarding FTR's relationship with the Elite. He stated, and I quote, FTR and Omega, the Young Bucks, they're all fine. Some people think it's like this divide with Punk and FTR against these guys. With Punk, there's still fence mending that needs to be done for them to work together and everything like that. It could happen. FTR is cool with the Elite, as they should be. As they should be. Doesn't matter what happened between the Elite and Punk. That's between the Elite and Punk. I think it should have been well known by now. We didn't need Dave Meltzer to report on this. FTR has always been cool with the Bucks and the Elite. They never had an issue. They were working together long before CM Punk came into AEW. And everything worked out just fine. Everything worked out just fine. Plain and simple. I'd like to hope that FTR's relationship with the Elite and Omega, that is going to help them mend the fence with CM Punk, and ultimately they'll end up working together. If anything, FTR may be our best shot. FTR may be our best shot. Better Wrestling Experience tweeted out on his private Twitter account that WWE had been discussing a main roster debut of Carmelo Hayes. They were going to have him fight a big main roster talent, and that indeed did happen this past Wednesday. He fought Finn Balor in a decent little match for what it was. It was a decent little 10-minute match, but at the end of the day, he fucking lost. Why exactly is Carmelo Hayes being called up to the main roster as the NXT champion to lose? I was getting flashbacks from 2021 when they called up Karrion Kross to lose to Jeff Hardy in about 90 seconds. Now, this wasn't as bad as that. Carmelo Hayes actually got a solid amount of offense, and he looked pretty decent against Finn Balor. But at the end of the day, if you were going to have him lose, why? Why did you call him up? I'm gonna ask this question. You couldn't have called up anybody else? Couldn't have done this with anyone else? It had to be Carmelo Hayes. You couldn't have done it with anyone else. Why did Carmelo Hayes have to be the sacrificial lamb for Finn Balor to gain momentum going into Money in the Bank? We all know Finn Balor's not going to win. This is a lose-lose situation. You gave Carmelo Hayes a loss just so Finn Balor could ultimately end up taking a loss today. Fucking stupid. I genuinely don't understand. I got a report from Fightful regarding Bryan Danielson's injury. Bryan Danielson's injury. He broke I believe it was the left portion of the bone. Obviously, you know how a forearm goes. The forearm bone, it's two bones that meet at the end right here, right at the elbow. I think he broke this side of his bone. This side's fine. This side, clean fucking break. And I saw the x-ray. It looked nasty. Apparently, his injury has caused several adjustments creatively for AEW. There were plans for him to wrestle more on television following Forbidden Door, and he was to be involved in Blood and Guts. Now, this is an unfortunate set of circumstances, but at the end of the day, I don't think that Bryan Danielson's injury is going to be that big of a hindrance on AEW television. Because Bryan Danielson right now, he's in a position where he's not looking to win any championships. He's not looking to be the main star. He just wants to go out there and wrestle. I was actually a little shocked that he beat Okada on Sunday, because I actually had Okada winning, because Bryan, he doesn't really care if he wins or he loses. But I mean, the fact that Bryan beat Okada with a broken fucking arm, I'd say that's pretty fucking impressive. So I think Bryan should be looked at as a fucking warrior. Now, he's to be out for 6 to 8 weeks. He's to be out for 6 to 8 weeks. I wish Bryan a speedy recovery. I'm not sure what they're going to do with Blood and Guts, but I mean, if you ask me, if we're going to have the Blackpool Combat Club and Takeshita in there, you may as well bring in Shota Umino again, like you did with Forbidden Door. And then you got Omega, you got the Bucks, you got Kingston. Do we have Hangman Page join in? I'm not sure. Maybe Omega is not even in Blood and Guts. Maybe Omega has his own fucking issues that he needs to worry about. Maybe Omega is gone for the time being, or maybe Claudio takes out Kingston, because in the end, Hangman Page did allude to the fact that Omega was not in Canada when he was away. He was away from Dynamite following Double or Nothing after they lost in the Anarchy in the Arena match. So by that logic, I would kind of assume that he was in Japan talking to an old friend of his named Kota Ibushi. I'm actually surprised that we didn't see Kota Ibushi at Forbidden Door. Maybe we see Kota Ibushi at Blood and Guts. Maybe Omega is taken out momentarily, and maybe Kota Ibushi takes his place. We could see that. Maybe Kota Ibushi joins the Blackpool Combat Club. Now that would be a shocker. Maybe we see Takeshita, Blackpool Combat Club, and Ibushi on one side, and Omega, Kingston, the Bucks, and Hangman on the other side. And maybe we get an Omega versus Ibushi showdown in Blood and Guts. That would be interesting. That would be rather interesting. I'm throwing that out there. I mean, it's a possibility. Tony Khan sometimes he likes to pull the rug out from under us and make things a little bit unpredictable, which I don't mind every once in a while. That would be a good unpredictable. If Kota Ibushi is on the side of the Blackpool Combat Club rather than the Elite, that would be very, very interesting. But I wish Bryan a speedy recovery. I think he should be fine. He should be back, healthy, ready to go by the time we get to All In. I don't know who he's going to face. Maybe we get a rematch with Okada. Maybe we get Bryan and Okada Part 2. I certainly wouldn't mind it. At all. I got a report from the WRKD Wrestling Twitter account. Randy Orton is expected to be nearing a return to WWE TV, and apparently he could very well be returning as soon as the Money in the Bank Premium Live event today. That would be rather interesting. I would not mind seeing Randy Orton back on TV. Randy Orton has been sorely missed. Now, I'm not really sure what he's going to be doing because there's really nothing for him to do going into SummerSlam. Unless we see Randy Orton versus Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight title. That would be an interesting match. Randy Orton and Rollins, they do have a lot of history. And Randy Orton, he did beat Seth Rollins at WrestleMania a few years ago. Maybe we see a rematch from WrestleMania 31. Maybe we see Orton and Rollins. Because I don't really see anyone else that would be a solid contender for Seth Rollins at SummerSlam. They could do Nakamura. They could do Ricochet. But again, this is WWE we're talking about. How willing is WWE to do that? How willing is WWE, especially Vince McMahon, who clearly is in charge, how willing is Vince McMahon to do a Ricochet versus Rollins match at SummerSlam? He could barely stand the fact that there wasn't one of his hand-appointed men in the Money in the Bank ladder match, so much so he needed to insert Logan Paul into the fray. How willing is he to do a Nakamura versus Rollins match? We're lucky that we're getting a Balor versus Rollins match at Money in the Bank. Maybe Matt Riddle? Maybe we see Orton return, and Matt Riddle is the individual that Orton targets. Maybe Randy Orton costs Matt Riddle the Intercontinental Championship today. Who knows? That would be great. Maybe we see a little mini feud with Orton and Matt Riddle going into SummerSlam, and then maybe it continues into Payback on September 2nd, and then after that, maybe we see Cody mix it up with Randy Orton. Does Cody challenge Rollins after he beats Lesnar? Because he's going to beat Lesnar. There's no way that Brock Lesnar is going to beat Cody Rhodes again at SummerSlam. We're going to get the third final match. Cody's going to win in John Cena-like fashion. We're going to hear the, whoa! We're going to see him throw up his hands. Whoa! All that shit. He's going to win the match. He's going to refuse to tap out like the valiant bargain basement John Cena that he is. He's going to beat Brock Lesnar. Then where does he go? There's only two other options, Rollins and Orton. And if Orton's going to fight Matt Riddle, then that means Cody's going to go after Rollins. Maybe that's the match at Payback. And then afterwards, after Orton gets done with Matt Riddle, then maybe we see Rollins get aided by Randy Orton. Maybe Randy Orton turns on Cody. Maybe he's giving his support to Cody in the beginning of the show, and maybe he fucks over Cody in the end. Who fucking knows? Who knows? But either way, I mean, if Orton's going to fight Matt Riddle going into SummerSlam, then it only makes sense for Cody to challenge Rollins after Rollins gets past whoever at SummerSlam. Maybe Orton challenges Rollins. I don't know. Seth Rollins really doesn't have a clear-cut challenger after Money in the Bank. He really doesn't, because if Cody's caught up with Lesnar, Gunther, he's the Intercontinental Champion, so by default, he's not challenging Seth Rollins. Owens and Zayn are the Undisputed Tag Team Champions. Balor's going to lose. Priest, I don't know what happens with Priest. They could do a rematch with Priest. I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind it at all. Are they gonna have Dom challenge Rollins? Because Dominic's going to beat Cody Rhodes today. Brock Lesnar will absolutely interfere, and Dom is going to beat Cody Rhodes. What's going to happen after that? Is Dom going to challenge Rollins? That's not really a SummerSlam match. Everything regarding Randy Orton is very, very, very unpredictable. We don't really have a clear-cut vision. He could cost Cody Rhodes, but Cody Rhodes is feuding with Lesnar, and Lesnar seems more prone to cost Cody Rhodes. Is Randy Orton going to be the eighth man in the Money in the Bank ladder match? Maybe we see Orton make a return in the Money in the Bank ladder match. Maybe Randy Orton is going to be Logan Paul's opponent at SummerSlam. That would be fairly intriguing, but I mean, if Logan Paul's going to be the heel, Orton's got to be the babyface. I don't know. Maybe he reunites with Matt Riddle. And maybe we see RK Bro challenge Owens and Zayn at SummerSlam. Maybe RK Bro loses because they never got a rematch against the Usos, and then after they lose, Orton turns on Matt Riddle. That's probably the best scenario to go with. Build it up and build up that turn. But Randy Orton is expected to return. I wouldn't mind that at all. Let me know what you guys think. I think that the RK Bro route, reuniting RK Bro and then having them lose at SummerSlam to Owens and Zayn, and then Orton turns on Matt Riddle, and then we're off to the races because we're heading up on Payback. So after SummerSlam, what's the next pay-per-view? Payback. It would make sense for Orton and Riddle to take place on Payback. That would be the first match. I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind it at all. I'll tell you something I do mind, though. Vince McMahon making all these fucking changes to the show last minute. Better Wrestling Experience tweeted out that Triple H was not happy about the things that turned out on Raw and SmackDown. He was not happy how things turned out with the constant rewrites to the show. Better Wrestling Experience tweeted out, and I quote, "Coming back to reality, I've asked about few things. It was few changes that happened. Few talents didn't like the VKM interferences in changing things. But it's noted that Nick and H didn't appreciate the outcome of SD as it looked bad all over. Big meeting happening tomorrow. Will update." To follow up on that, Meltzer then reported that Vince McMahon made remote changes to the June 23rd episode of SmackDown, changing at least 3 matches, which caused plenty of frustration. A couple of matches included Baron Corbin versus Cameron Grimes, Shotzi versus Bayley, and a triple threat match that was set to take place with LA Knight, Butch, and Santos Escobar. 2 out of the 3 of those matches actually took place on SmackDown last night, which was pre-taped, and they had it in London in the O2 Arena. We had Dave Meltzer stating, and I quote, "Logic will tell you that there are many unhappy people, and Paul Levesque has to be one of them. These were matches that were built up with promos. They'd been built up for a week. They did angles last week, and they were just taken away like nothing." He then continued by stating, and I quote, "If you're a writer, you can't say anything to Vince. Even if you're Paul Levesque, you can't say anything to Vince because it's like you're fucked if you say anything to Vince. So you can't say anything. They're trying to figure out a way to have him not do this. One person noted to me, it would be a lot better if you did it the day before or 2 days before, but he's doing it the day of the show." End quote. They're trying to figure out a way to not have him do this. They're trying to figure out a way to talk to Vince, to appeal to his better nature, to figure out a way where they can stop him from making changes to the show. Let me ask you, what are you going to do? What is Nick Khan going to do? What's Triple H going to do? What are they going to do? They're going to take him out to Starbucks? They're going to take Vince McMahon out to Starbucks. Hey, Vince, come on, let's talk over coffee at Starbucks. And can you imagine Vince McMahon at Starbucks? I'll have a frappuccino with a lot of foam and caramel, pal. That's good shit right there. Could I get a nice succulent chocolate chip cookie? Man, that's almost as succulent as Roman Reigns and his 1,000-day reign. You know what? That's almost as succulent as Charlotte Flair getting her 15,000th women titles opportunity. Let me get some Dunkin' Ice Mocha. Let me get some Starbucks Mocha. Man, that'll be really good. You know what? Let me get a bran muffin. I've been a little constipated as of lately. You take him out to Starbucks. You're gonna sit him down. What are they gonna do? Triple H is gonna be like, "Vince, could you please stop making changes to Raw and SmackDown on Fox?" What are they going to do? They're going to appeal to his better nature? Vince has no better nature, motherfucker. Vince has no better nature. Vince has no sense of intelligence. Vince has no sense of logic. If he wants something, he's going to fucking do it. If he wants something, he's going to get it. You know what? You know what I referenced on Twitter? I referenced something on Twitter and Facebook. 10 years ago, in 2013, I believe it was like last month, The Hangover Part 3 came out. I don't know why people dislike that movie. It was actually a pretty solid movie. The second one was the weakest one out of the bunch because it was just a direct carbon copy of what happened in the first one. But the first one was the best. Then it was the third one, then the second one. Third one is very underrated. I love the backstory of Hangover Part 3. John Goodman was in Hangover Part 3, and John Goodman, towards the end of the movie, he threw out a line that has stuck with me for the last decade. So, Chow stole Marshall's gold. Marshall was played by John Goodman, and the Wolfpack had to go and get Chow and get the gold. So, they trapped Chow in the trunk of Marshall's limo, right? And then they brought him back the gold that Chow stole from him. Marshall then said, "I want to talk to Chow." He went to the trunk, shot the trunk about 9 different times, and said, "End of conversation." And Phil goes, "Why would you do that? Why would you do that?" And Marshall, John Goodman, gave me this line right here. He goes, "Leslie Chow is madness. You don't talk to madness. If you're lucky, you trap it in the trunk of your limo and you kill it." 3 sentences. 3 sentences. And it stuck with me all this time. And it could be applied to this scenario right here. Vince McMahon is insanity. You don't talk to insanity. If you're lucky, You gather up every piece of evidence that you possibly can against him, and you persecute it. You lock that motherfucker up, and you throw away the key, and you leave him to rot in a pit of his own obscurity. You leave him to rot in a pit of his own misery and his own self-hatred. You leave him to rot in that prison. Will that happen? Of course not. Of course not, because nobody has the balls to. Nobody has the fucking balls to do so. What are they going to do? What the fuck could they possibly do? It's over. It's over. Vince won. He won. There's nothing that's going to stop him. He beat the law again. How many fucking times has this man gotten away with shit that he should have been jailed for? Sexual harassment allegations, the steroid trials, the Owen Hart scenario, the Chris Benoit situation. Being negligent against his employees, being negligent towards his employees towards COVID-19. And he got caught, and then he started to do shit. He took a bribe. He bribed the government at the time to allow WWE to continue operating as an essential business. Meanwhile, pro wrestling is an essential business. What more do you need to realize that there is nothing that Triple H and Nick Khan can do? Vince McMahon has done what he has set out to do. He has taken back all the power that he once had. Matter of fact, I think he has more power than he did 1 year ago. I think he has more power than he did. Ari Emmanuel has known Vince for over 20 years. Ari Emmanuel is good friends with Vince. Vince McMahon sold the WWE to an individual that he's had a great partnership with. Why? Because that individual will allow Vince McMahon to do whatever the fuck he wants. Endeavor doesn't give a fuck. No one does in Endeavor. No one gives a fuck from Endeavor. There were probably millions and millions of other dollars to be spent on WWE by numerous different companies. There were probably dozens and dozens and dozens of other companies that would have been willing to buy WWE for even more than, what was it, 21 million? 21 billion? How much? 9.3 billion? More than that? How much did they sell it for? 21 billion, 9.3 billion, whatever it may be. There were dozens of other companies that were willing to pay even more than that. But the catch was, Vince could not be involved, and Triple H would have the reins. Vince wasn't going to have a hand in it. Vince did not want that. Vince McMahon did not want to sell the company for money. He didn't give a shit about selling the company for money. He deliberately orchestrated this plan so he could find a way to get himself back into power. He has been running the company all year, ever since he came back into power and he got unanimously reelected back at the beginning of January. He has been running the company since then. Vince was the guy that's been running the company all fucking year. Triple H's last stand was WrestleMania. Ever since WrestleMania went downhill and it was over, and that final bell rang at the end of WrestleMania, Vince McMahon was all over WWE post-WrestleMania. Nothing WWE related has felt the same coming out of WrestleMania 39. It's done. It's done. The war is over. Vince McMahon has beaten everything. There's only one thing. There's only one individual that is going to end up taking Vince McMahon down. It's not Triple H. It's not Paul Levesque. It's not Stephanie. It's not Nick Khan. It's no one. It's no living human being. The only individual that's going to end up taking Vince McMahon down is the Angel of Death. That is when we will truly be free. That is when we will truthfully start the process of rehabilitation. Vince McMahon, this maniacal, demented old fuck, he won. There's really nothing more to say when it comes to this scenario. Vince McMahon has won. He's insanity. And there's nothing that Triple H or Nick Khan is going to be able to say that is going to appeal to his better nature. The man has no better nature. It's either you do it his way or he's going to fucking fire you. And what Dave Meltzer said is true. No one can fucking stand up to him. No one can fucking stand up to him because if you do, you are going to end up paying the price. You're going to end up paying the price, and you're either going to get buried if you're a talent, or you're probably going to get fired. Triple H has absolutely zero power. We're lucky. We're lucky that we've been able to maintain a hold of LA Knight, and we've been able to get the Lone Wolf Baron Corbin back, and we're able to have Asuka and Rhea Ripley as champions. We're lucky that Balor is getting a world title opportunity. There is nothing that can save us from Vince but the angel of death when his time to leave this earth comes. It is a fucking sad, sad scenario. It really is. And to be quite honest with you, I am fucking dreading Money in the Bank. I've never dreaded a WWE. I haven't dreaded a WWE pay-per-view in a year. Ever since Vince retired, I have not dreaded a WWE pay-per-view in a year. I haven't. Not even bullshitting. This pay-per-view, I'm fucking dreading. Because now there's a report from PW Insider that Vince apparently wants to add Charlotte Flair to the fucking Money in the Bank ladder match. God help us all. God fucking help us all. I swear to God. I swear to God, man. If that happens, I'm genuinely considering not even watching WWE anymore. There's a part of me that just wants to say, fuck WWE. But I know I can't. I know I can't because I have so many people that rely on me, and I'm their eyes and ears for the WWE. God fucking help us tonight. Those are all your news, rumors, and reports. Why don't we get into the weekly show reviews? Monday Night Raw. I mean, what more can I say? I don't think we've gotten a decent show. We've only gotten about one decent show following WrestleMania, and it was back on June 5th, I believe it was. The June 5th episode of Raw. That was a pretty decent fucking show. We had a lot of good wrestling on that show. A lot of good wrestling on that show. We had Casey or Katana and Caden Carter. We had them mixing it up a bit. We had Owens and Gunther. We had Priest and Rollins. That show was a solid Monday Night Raw. Outside of the June 5th episode of Raw, every other Monday Night Raw, and SmackDown to a certain extent too. SmackDown too. Every show has been a complete fucking waste. Really. Decent wrestling on the show, but this show has absolutely zero energy. There's no energy. There's no wow factor. There's no sense of urgency. It's just there. It's just a show that's there with absolutely no rhyme or reason whatsoever. Nothing that's going to hype me up. Nothing that's going to get me excited. And I say it all the time. If WWE just put a slight amount of effort, just a little bit, a slight amount of effort into their weekly shows, if they put 25% of the effort that they put into pay-per-views into their weekly shows, the entire landscape of WWE would feel different. The entire landscape of WWE would be a hell of a lot better, and their shows would be a lot more tolerable than what they are now. Rhea Ripley and Dominic Mysterio kicked off the show. Dominic, as per usual, couldn't get a fucking word out. He was being booed. Rhea promised that Dom is going to end it all for Cody. Cody Rhodes came out with the theme song, with the suit, singing, "Oh!" Cody Rhodes said, "I think I know what you were trying to do, Dom. Savannah, Georgia, welcome to Monday Night Raw." Rhea promised that Dom is a dangerous man. The crowd continued to rain down boos on Dom. Cody Rhodes said, "You're a smart guy. Be who you are, because those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind." Do you know where that quote came from? The Cat in the Hat. So now we have Cody. We have Cody quoting the Cat in the Hat and giving us his own Roman Reigns sufferin' succotash moment. Man, how fucking bad is that? You have Cody Rhodes quoting, "Hello, little kitties, rat-a-tat-tat. Don't you know who I am? I'm the Cat in the Hat. There's no doubt about that." We have Cody Rhodes fucking quoting the Cat in the Hat. Now listen, I liked the Cat in the Hat movie back in the day with Mike Myers as the Cat in the Hat. I liked it. Some people say it sucked, but I didn't mind it. I liked that movie. It was pretty entertaining for my 7-year-old self. I didn't mind it. But I mean, I don't want to be hearing fucking Cat in the Hat nursery rhymes on my WWE television program. Holy shit. Rat-a-tat-tat, Cat in the Hat. There's no doubt about that. I can do nursery rhymes too. I can do nursery rhymes all the fucking time. I'm DJ Storms, and I am certainly a dashing little prick. You don't like the truth that I say, you can suck on my dick. How was that? I would probably write the worst children's book ever. So he goes, "It came from a children's book," said Cody. "I'm quoting that because that's what you are, a scared little boy." So Rhea and Dom left. Cody wanted Dom to come back. He would even give him a free shot. Dom teased it and then ultimately left. Cody said, "Okay, Dom. Like I said, these cheap shots have been effective, but on Saturday, I want to find out if you're half the man that your father was, or if you're just mommy's little boy." Typical promo. Wasn't terrible outside of the fucking Cat in the Hat shit, but this shit is overly predictable. There is no doubt in my mind that Brock Lesnar is costing Cody Rhodes today in London. Not a fucking doubt in my mind. Cody Rhodes will be cost by Brock Lesnar. If Cody Rhodes isn't cost by Brock Lesnar, I'd be shocked. Dom needs this win more than Cody. Supposedly, it's the fucking main event of the show. Why? I don't fucking know. Cody Rhodes is main eventing over 2 Money in the Bank ladder matches and Rollins and Balor for the World Heavyweight Championship. Holy shit, you are really, really going to run the well dry with Cody, as if it's not run dry already. Shinsuke Nakamura versus Ricochet. They actually worked together to take out Bronson Reed, who was at ringside for this match. Reed was actually ejected from ringside. Coming back from commercial, Ricochet with a springboard clothesline, handspring elbow, and a standing shooting star for a 2. Nakamura with a reverse exploder. Ricochet countered with a recoil. Nakamura kicked out. Ricochet then with a standing sliced bread. Very nicely done by Ricochet. And a shooting star from the top. Ricochet gets the win in what was a solid little match. Probably the best match out of all of this shit. Out of all of this whole Bronson Reed, Nakamura, Ricochet brouhaha, this was probably the best match. Now, that still doesn't mean that I give a shit. I don't know where the fuck this is going. It's just a program that's on television, and they're playing Ring Around the Rosie with all 3 of these guys. Unless Bronson Reed is potentially going to get a championship match at SummerSlam, or one of these guys is going to get a title match against whoever at SummerSlam. Whether it be Gunther, whether it be Rollins, I don't fucking know. Reed is not in the Money in the Bank ladder match. Is Reed going to cost Nakamura and Ricochet? I don't know. Maybe. Ricochet wins. Solid little match. I didn't mind it. But I mean, where is it going? Where's it going? Ricochet and Nakamura and Reed, they're just going around in circles. Nothing has been progressed. And nothing has been done here that's made me care about any of these 3 guys more so than I already do. Gunther was challenged by Matt Riddle for the Intercontinental title at Money in the Bank, and he accepted. Good. That's going to be a fucking banger. If they want it to, that match could steal the fucking show. Ronda Rousey, she took on Raquel Rodriguez, and Ronda rolled up Raquel for the win. God help us all today. God help us all today, because I am not looking forward to this match whatsoever. This is a piss break match. for the women's tag team titles. Now, there's a supposed upset. There's a supposed upset that is happening at Money in the Bank. I'm not sure what that upset is, but I mean, if I was to go based off of an upset, I would say that either Matt Riddle's going to beat Gunther or Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez are probably going to beat Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. But either way, if Ronda and Shayna lose, the tag team titles are still going to be in the same fucking scenario that they were in prior. The women's tag team titles have not had any relevancy whatsoever ever since they were introduced. All the relevancy went up in smoke when fucking Billie Kay and Peyton Royce, those two fucking bimbos, won the titles at WrestleMania 35, which I watched. Outside of that short little reign that Bayley and Sasha had, no one's going to give a fuck. No one. No one gives a fuck about the women's tag team titles. No one. Ronda Rousey beats Raquel Rodriguez. God help us all. We had a fantastic promo package for Finn Balor. Finn Balor taking us back in time from when he was injured and how Rollins laughed at him after he was injured. We saw footage from 2016 and how Balor promised to take the world title at Money in the Bank. I'm not even lying to you. This promo package that we saw by Finn Balor actually makes me want to see him win the fucking title, even though that I know he's not. If anything, I would have held off on Balor, and I would have actually have built up Balor going into next year to take the title off of Rollins. That's what I would have done. Speaking of Seth Rollins came out to address the crowd. Crowd singing his song, oh, 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 oh. You know, same typical shit. Rollins pointed out Carmelo Hayes in attendance. The crowd chanted NXT. I don't even know if that was legit chants or if it was just piped in crowd noises. I'm going with the latter. No one gives a fuck about NXT. He thanked Melo for having his back on Wednesday, and he talked about his match with Finn Balor. Finn Balor tried to crush my ribs to dust. Here's the thing. I'm still standing, and I'm tired of talking. Come on out and finish the job, Finn. Finn didn't come out. Rollins then promised that he will be the best version of Seth Rollins on Saturday. He did praise Finn for being smart and dangerous, but you've tricked yourself into thinking that it's your destiny to take everything from me, just like I took everything from you. Am I 100%? No, I'm not. Will I be 100%? No, I will not. But when it's just you and me, the best version of Finn Balor is not as good as the best version of Seth freaking Rollins. That's what Rollins said. And that is a bitter pill that you're going to have to swallow, because I am a visionary. I am a revolutionary. All of a sudden, Finn Balor came up from behind with a chair. Rollins was sent into the table and the steps, rib first. Melo took the chair out of Finn's hand, and Finn ran off as Rollins stood tall. I said it on the rundown, and I firmly stand behind this. I truthfully do believe that we could very well end up getting the best Finn Balor and Seth Rollins match that we've seen. And Rollins and his theme song and the crowd, that's going to play a big factor into it. The crowd is going to be lively for this match. We were supposed to get a match with Tommaso Ciampa and The Miz. Miz attacked Ciampa from behind, bashed Ciampa's knee into the LED apron, and then hit a suplex into the barricade and a skull-crushing finale on the floor. I'm not going to lie. I actually did not mind Miz attacking Ciampa. I haven't really minded The Miz over the course of the last couple of months. He's actually been pretty decent as of lately. So I can't really sit here and complain. But, I mean, if you think that Tommaso Ciampa is going to benefit from this program with The Miz, I mean, you got another thing coming. Let's just have Ciampa beat The Miz again, and then let that be the end of it. Dominic Mysterio, he took on Akira Tozawa. Dom won pretty quickly with the frog splash, a complete waste of time this match was. Akira Tozawa, let me tell you something. Akira Tozawa was once the most consistent worker in all of WWE. I was praising his shit left and right when he was on 205 Live. Now he's a jobber. Now he's a fucking jobber. How fucking pathetic is that? Fucking jobber. Akira Tozawa deserves a lot better. He could be a solid contender in the IC title or US title hunt. The Women's Money in the Bank Summit. I did not give a single fuck about this. Zelina Vega promised that Bayley will not be winning, and the LWO was going to clean house at Money in the Bank. Trish Stratus then said, all I see is a bunch of little girls. I'm a woman, and I needed to save this division. And Becky, after I win, will you be man enough to say, thank you, Trish? Becky then punched Trish Stratus, and we get a huge brawl. Io took out the field with a moonsault, and Becky Lynch climbed the ladder and took the briefcase. Becky Lynch held the briefcase, and Becky Lynch pretty much told everyone, without actually telling you, that she is not going to be winning the Money in the Bank ladder match. She will not be winning, and nor should she win, because she doesn't need it. Sami Zayn and Gunther. Probably the best thing on the show right here. This was a very good match right here between Sami and Gunther. Don't like the fact that Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are still feuding with Imperium after they beat them 3 fucking times, but that's just me. Vinci actually made his return. He came walking out on crutches. Gunther took over with a German suplex. Coming back from commercial, Gunther with a chop to Sami. He slapped Sami across the face. Sami came back with a sunset flip powerbomb, and he got it. Gunther kicked out. Sami with a big lariat. Gunther with a sleeper hold. Zayn fought back, delivered a beautiful Blue Thunder Bomb, which is one of my most favorite moves in all of pro wrestling today. Gunther kicked out. Gunther chopped Sami in midair. Sami kicked out. We had a diving splash by Gunther, and Sami kicked out. Sami still kicked out. We then had Gunther booting Owens. Owens tried to take out Ludwig Kaiser, and then Sami took out Gunther with a Tope Con Hero. Vinci got involved and hit Sami with a crutch right behind the referee's back, and Gunther with a powerbomb for the win. Owens then tried to come in and attack Imperium, but they swarmed him before Matt Riddle came out, and Matt Riddle took out Vinci. He hit everyone with the crutch. Stunner by Owens on Kaiser, and the babyfaces ended up standing tall. Gunther continues to win, and him and Matt Riddle, they're going to put on a fucking banger for the Intercontinental Championship today. That's actually one of the matches that I'm most looking forward to on Money in the Bank's card. Carmelo Hayes, he took on Finn Balor. Why the fuck this match was even made, I don't fucking know. Carmelo Hayes loses a decent little match right here, but this was completely unnecessary. Completely fucking unnecessary. Why did you have to book the NXT champion to lose? You couldn't have booked anyone against Finn Balor. You couldn't have given me Apollo Crews. You would have had just as much of an impact with Finn beating Crews as he would have did Carmelo Hayes. You would have had just as much of an impact because, again, Crews, he's not going anywhere, and Finn Balor's not winning, so Crews could have easily had taken the loss. He would have given you a decent match with Finn Balor, and then Finn Balor would have gone on to wrestle Seth Rollins at Money in the Bank today. Why the fuck did it have to be the NXT champion? Why couldn't it have been anybody else? Oh, by the way, I also want to add, I forgot to say this in the Women's Summit. This is about the 8th week in a row that they have broken the fucking draft rules by having SmackDown stars appear on Raw. 8 weeks. 8 weeks. And every week we've had a Raw superstar on SmackDown or a SmackDown superstar on Raw and vice versa. Every fucking time. Every time. Carmelo Hayes loses unnecessarily to Finn Balor in a match that shouldn't have even happened. Cody Rhodes, Damian Priest. Fine match. Fine match. I don't care. It was a fine match. I don't give a fuck. I don't. I genuinely don't give a fuck. Cody Rhodes wins, and that was that. Cody Rhodes and Dominic Mysterio. I mean, if that's going to main event the show, I don't know how the fuck that they're going to work that one out. That was Raw. No one really gave a shit. I didn't give a shit. It is what it is, and goodbye. Goodbye. That's that. AEW Dynamite. AEW Dynamite. I don't want to say it was bad. It wasn't. It wasn't bad at all. But I mean, I don't know. It just did not have that same energy that it usually has had, which is fine. It definitely felt like more of a come-down show. It definitely felt like more of a show in which they were trying to reset and get everything in shape after Forbidden Door. We had a couple of great matches. I will say that. We had a couple of great matches. And we did have a very nice promo by Jungle Boy, a very nice start to Jungle Boy's heel run. I didn't mind it whatsoever. I thought it was actually pretty effective. And that was pretty much it, though. It didn't really have that same energy that Dynamite usually has. The crowd wasn't all too good either. I don't know what it was, but Canada's usually a good crowd. Whoever they were in front of, not too good. Not too good whatsoever. Not to say that it was bad. It just wasn't must-see. It wasn't must-see, and it did not have the energy that Dynamite usually has. The month of June for them was a great month. The month of June for them was a great month, but it just didn't have the same energy that we know it should be having. Jon Moxley and Tomohiro Ishii, they kicked off the show, and they had a great match, a very nice match between these two, just a flat-out fight, and it was a joy to watch. It was a joy to watch Ishii and Moxley beating the fuck out of each other. So they traded forearms back and forth. Moxley and Ishii, they actually bit each other in the forehead. Coming back from commercial, we had both of them trading strike after strike after strike after strike. Moxley then caught a side suplex by Ishii. Lariat by Moxley. Ishii hyped himself up. They clotheslined each other one after the other. The crowd was chanting, AEW, AEW. We had Ishii on the receiving end of a paradigm shift. Ishii kicked out. Moxley was busted open. We had a cutter by Moxley. Ishii hyped himself up and gave Moxley a sliding lariat. Moxley kicked out. Moxley then with the Death Rider. 1-2, Ishii kicked out again. So at this point, Moxley says, all right, fuck this. I'm done with them. He delivers a curb stomp and a Death Rider to Tomohiro Ishii, and he wins the match 1-2-3. A flat-out fight. Very, very fun. And Jon Moxley gets the win as he should have. And this was the prelude to what was to come later on in the night. So they were in the back, and MJF, he said that he wanted to bond with Adam Cole, and he even got them matching t-shirts. It says, better than you, baby. I don't know about you, but I think that this whole Blind Eliminator tournament, it's really going to be built around MJF and Adam Cole, and it's going to be some really entertaining material. I will say that. It's going to be some really entertaining material, and I'm actually looking forward to it. I think MJF and Adam Cole, they're really going to, they're going to be like the odd couple of AEW, but it's going to be fairly entertaining. I will say that. We had a 6-man tag. This was Orange Cassidy, El Hijo del Vikingo, and Keith Lee versus Daniel Garcia and 2.0. This actually turned into a little bit of a sloppy match towards the end, and obviously there wasn't too much chemistry because Vikingo, Keith Lee, and Orange Cassidy, they've never teamed together before. So I had a feeling it was going to be a little shaky early on. It started out okay. It started out decent, and then it just turned into a sloppy botch fest towards the end. Keith Lee got the win. I will say that, and I'm glad that Keith Lee got the win. Keith Lee, he shaved his beard. No more gray Keith Lee. He looks refreshed. I will say that. The one positive thing I will say, Keith Lee looks very, very refreshed. So I'm interested to see what they do with Keith Lee going forward. Maybe Keith Lee is the one to take the title off of Orange Cassidy. Who the fuck knows? Him and Swerve, they're reuniting Swerve in Our Glory, and they have a blind eliminator tournament against Cassidy and Darby Allin next week. So that should be rather interesting. So Vikingo mixed it up with Garcia a bit. Cassidy came in. Garcia took advantage. Garcia actually came in, and he was trying to do his little dance, his little dance on Keith Lee. Keith Lee hyped himself up. He slingshotted himself over the top onto 2.0. We had a tag to Vikingo, and Vikingo accidentally hit Keith Lee with a Tope Con Hero. That was a clear-cut botch right there. We had a moonsault onto 2.0. Moonsault onto 2.0. Garcia then with a pile driver on Cassidy for a 2. We had the Dragon Tamer by Garcia. Things started to break down. Keith Lee then picked up Daddy Magic. He pressed Matt Menard and delivered the ground 0. And Keith Lee got the win for his team. I'm glad that Keith Lee was on TV, and I'm glad that he's getting a win. And I truthfully hope that we will see Keith Lee in a more prominent role on AEW TV, because Keith Lee is excellent at what he does. But probably the weakest match of the night. Very, very sloppy and very, very botchy towards the end. Not every match is going to be clean, and that was one of them. Dark Order. This was Evil Uno. I guess Evil Uno decided to take a break from being a liberal cuck, and they took on Adam Page and the Young Bucks. It was Evil Uno, John Silver, Johnny Hungy, and Alex Reynolds. So this was a very good tag team match. Very good 6-man tag, and it really goes to showcase how underrated the Dark Order really is. So I got to give a lot of props to Dark Order, even though Evil Uno's an idiot. They are very good at what they do, and I truthfully hope that they are showcased more prominently in the future. So Evil Uno and Matt Jackson mixed it up a bit, and Adam Page, he was not too keen on fighting the Dark Order. He was a little hesitant. Coming back from commercial, Evil Uno delivered a brainbuster on Matt and a pile driver on Nick for a 2. Page saved it, and Evil Uno actually slapped Page. So Page, at that rate, after he got slapped, he's like, all right, you know what? I'm done playing fucking nice. He tagged himself in. He gets into the ring, and him and Evil Uno, they start going at it. We had a stomp by Silver, double stomp by Silver to Nick Jackson on the outside, cannonball by Evil Uno, a quick stunner, enziguri, German suplex combination by Silver and Reynolds. That got a very close 2 count. Crowd chanted, "This is awesome." We had a facebuster by Nick, moonsault onto Reynolds. Page nearly got rolled up by Silver. We had a swift kick combination, but in the end, Adam Page hit the dead eye, Bucks with the BTE trigger, and then a buckshot lariat by Hangman Page. And then he put his head right by Silver's head, said a few words, I guess trying to apologize for the fact that he had to do it. And that was it. A very good match. Afterwards, BCC attacked. Don Callis came out with Takeshita. The Dark Order actually walked away. I like that little tidbit of information. And even more so of a little tidbit, Moxley, he didn't even look at what Claudio was doing to Eddie Kingston. So he couldn't even bear to see Eddie Kingston get beaten up. I'm not sure if that's going to play into effect as to what's going to happen later. Maybe Moxley's going to leave the Blackpool Combat Club. Who knows? So Moxley said, "It's been fun, but it's about time we finish this. We've pushed each other beyond our limits." On July 14th, Boston, TD Garden, just like someone once said, blood and guts. Blood and guts. Love it. Love it. And you know what I love even more? I love the fact that they're placing Blood and Guts in between Forbidden Door and All In. I think that's a brilliant strategy. Space some shit out and build towards it. Simple. Oh, by the way, we also got Kenny Omega and Wheeler Yuta next week on Dynamite. That's going to be a fucking banger of a match. Wheeler Yuta is about to have the match of his life. Jungle Boy, Jack Perry. He came out to Tarzan Boy, and he said, turn that garbage music off. He said the crowd ruined the song for him. He came out in sunglasses and a brown jacket. He looked like Christian Cage. Love it. He goes, I'm young, cashing checks, and I'm banging the hottest bitch in this entire place. Did I turn on Hook, or did everyone turn on me? After being robbed of 2 world championships, I'm going to have some self-entitled little prick dangle his title in my face like a carrot. Hook, you're a fraud, and I never needed you. Jungle Boy made you. You were lucky that you got to stand next to me. The crowd then booed. He goes, Hook, I know what that title means to your family, and that's why I'm going to take that from you. And when I get my hands on you, I'm going to beat the shit out of you. Hook then came running out. Perry then ran into the crowd. Hook ran after him, and Perry ran through the backstage area into a Cadillac Escalade, or what looked like a Cadillac Escalade, and he drove off. So it looks like we are building towards Perry and Hook, which I have no issue with. I actually think Jack Perry's going to win the FTW championship, and maybe we even get Taz involved. That's going to be rather interesting. I'm looking forward to that. I'm not going to lie. Ruby Soho, she took on Alexia Nicole. Soho just dispatched her very quickly. They then spray painted the L on Nicole's chest. Ruby then took the mic and goes, I suppose I have all of you to thank for no Baker because of your germ-ridden country, she's sick. I just hope her and Adam Cole don't have kids because those are going to be some weak little bastards. So she goes, Britt, you are a shell of your former self. They shit on you if you sneeze in the wrong direction. Last year, you barely beat me in the finals on your best day. We have taken everything from you, and I will take away your opportunity at becoming a 2-time Owen Hart Cup tournament winner, and I will leave you with exactly what you are. Nothing. So pretty much a nothing match, really nothing to go back and rewatch, but I will say that I'm very, very pleased to see that Ruby Soho is getting a lot more showcase on TV. The Outcasts was a true blessing for Ruby Soho. And I like this promo. I think that Ruby Soho would be a great winner of the Owen Hart Cup tournament. And if you have Ruby Soho win the Owen Hart Cup tournament, you could have Ruby Soho challenge Chris Statlander for the TBS championship. Maybe we continue building up the Outcasts and continue showcasing them more prominently on TV. Maybe Ruby Soho beats Chris Statlander. Who knows? I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind it at all. So, after that, we had the main event, Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara versus Sting and Darby. Texas Tornado match. Absolutely fucking insane, this match was. Darby went right at Sammy. Sting and Jericho then grabbed their bats and they started jousting with their bats. Afterwards, Sting hit a stinger splash on Jericho. We had a cutter by Sammy on Darby. Sammy then got a ladder. And I mean, of course he got a fucking ladder. Let's be real here. Of course he got a fucking ladder. Jericho hit Darby with a chair, and Darby then was flipped over the steel steps. It was nuts here. So the steel steps were right against the barricade. They Irish whipped him against the barricade, and he flipped over the steps, and he hit his tailbone on the barricade as he was going over the barricade. He's fucking insane, is Darby Allin. Afterwards, coming back commercial, Sammy with a cutter to Darby on the floor. Sammy then was caught with a coffin drop on the outside to the floor. Darby then set up a table. He then set up a table. Sting got another table. They put Darby on the table, and then Sting set up a ladder. Sammy was put on the table. Sting went up the ladder, and Sting goes, "You know what? I got this, Darby." And Darby just patted Sting on the shoulders. Sting, like an absolute fucking madman, dove off of the ladder through the air as if he's fucking Superman, through Sammy Guevara, through a table, and he fucking made it. And he made it. Absolutely fucking insane is Sting. 64 years old, and he's doing this shit. I'm telling you, man, we have been blessed to have Sting in AEW. We really have. So Darby then took out Jericho with his skateboard. Jericho set up a ladder. Jericho was sent headfirst into the ladder. Jericho then hit Darby with a skateboard and then delivered a Judas effect, but Darby fell out of the ring. Sting, like a fucking madman, Sting gets up, and Sting and Jericho, they have a back and forth. Sting, he was calling the walls. I thought Sting was going to tap. Jericho was the painmaker here. Sting then crawled to get his bat. He hit Jericho with the bat. Sting with the Stinger Splash. Jericho with the Code Breaker. Sting kicked out. We had a Scorpion Death Drop. Jericho kicked out. Sting said, "All right, enough of this. Enough of this shit." Jericho went for another Code Breaker. Sting caught Jericho in the Scorpion Death Lock, and Jericho tapped out. And Sting, with yet another fantastic performance, puts on a very fun match. Very, very fun Texas Tornado match. I don't know what's to come later on, but I'd say that this was actually better than the match at Forbidden Door. I don't know what the fuck happened at Forbidden Door, but it was just not good at Forbidden Door. That was probably the worst match of the night at Forbidden Door. I was actually shocked. This match, much better. This could have been on the pay-per-view, and it would have been great. This could have been on the pay-per-view. Not a bad show, but it didn't have the same energy that Dynamite has really had throughout the month of June, and I'd like to hope that we're going to turn it back up a little bit once we get into July, because, I mean, we got Omega and Yuta. We got a big show next week on Dynamite, really big show next week on Dynamite. Collision is tonight, and I'm looking forward to Collision. It should be very fun, and that was pretty much it. Really nothing to go out of your way to rewatch. I would rewatch the main event, and I would rewatch the opening match. Those were the two things that I would recommend that you go back and rewatch. Other than that, it wasn't all that good. I'm not saying it was bad. It was just not as energetic as it should have been, which is fine. You're going to have shows like this. I actually want to spend a little bit of time to talk about this. It was NXT Gold Rush Week 2. NXT Gold Rush Week 2, Baron Corbin and Carmelo Hayes for the NXT Championship. As I said, Baron Corbin, legitimately, Baron Corbin was the best thing on WWE programming this week. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. Baron Corbin, he took on Carmelo Hayes. He came in dressed in all leather with his classic NXT theme song, Superhuman. The Lone Wolf is back. And I'm not going to fucking lie. I fucking popped. I popped big time. This was probably the biggest pop that I had all fucking week for wrestling. The Lone Wolf is back. Fucking finally. Fucking finally. Took him a while. Took him about fucking 5 years. But hey, Baron Corbin finally found his balls. Baron Corbin finally got his balls out of his wife's purse. And Baron Corbin brought back the Lone Wolf. Love it. It works. I don't know why the fuck they ever got rid of it. And on top of that, this was probably the best Baron Corbin match that I've seen in years. This was awesome. Baron Corbin legitimately put on the best wrestling match of the week for WWE. This was a great match. Great match with Carmelo Hayes. So Corbin was turning Hayes inside out with a boot. Corbin then was in firm control. Hayes came in with a big frog splash. That got a 2. Hayes mounted a comeback, fadeaway, and a springboard DDT. Corbin then with a very nice Death Valley driver, and then he transitioned into a chokeslam backbreaker for a 2. Corbin then caught Hayes and powerbombed him onto the announce table. No give. He then bounced his head off the table. Hayes came in with a V-trigger. Corbin with a beautiful deep 6. Hayes kicked out. Hayes then with a DDT to Corbin on the apron, back in the ring. Nothing but net. Nothing but net. And Hayes retains the NXT title in a great main event against Baron Corbin. And Baron Corbin, I can honestly tell you right now I'm invested in Baron Corbin. Now let's keep him like this. Let's keep him down in NXT, and let's get him in the ring with more fucking talent. Baron Corbin could have a career fucking renaissance. But listen, can you imagine him against Tyler Bate? Can you imagine him against Wes Lee? Can you imagine him against all those guys? He's got everything. He's got the world at his fingertips, Baron Corbin. Now that the Lone Wolf character is back, it's just so simple. It's so amazing what a simple character change can do. Why wasn't this done 5 years ago? Should have never gotten rid of the Lone Wolf. SmackDown. I'm going to be quite honest. SmackDown, not good. Not good, man. SmackDown was not good at all. Even with a big crowd, even with a solid crowd, SmackDown just did not deliver. The only good things about it were the opening match with Pretty Deadly and Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, and the main segment with the Bloodline. That was it. That was the best thing about SmackDown. Outside of that, I don't give a shit. I really don't. Pretty Deadly was one of the best things on the show. Pretty Deadly took on Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. This was for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships. Crowd singing Sami's theme song beautifully. Pretty Deadly was in control coming back from commercial. Sami Zayn was isolated. We had a tag to Owens. He lit up Elton Prince. We had a shot to Wilson too. Clotheslines on the outside. He was doing his impersonation of Braun Strowman. We had a swanton bomb in the ring by Owens for 2. Owens was holding his leg. Owens was holding his leg, so I actually thought he was injured there, but it was reported that Kevin Owens is indeed fine. He is not hurt. Sami Zayn was sent into the steps. They isolated Owens. We had an assisted code breaker by Pretty Deadly coming back from commercial. Very nicely done. Spilt milk connects. Zayn just saved it. Owens with a released German suplex. Tag to Sami Zayn. We had a beautiful Blue Thunder Bomb on Kit Wilson. He kicked out. Kit then raked the eyes. Prince switched with Kit, so they tried to pull a little twin magic right there. Sammy was rolled up, and he kicked out. Prince was taken out. We had an exploder suplex. Owens came in with a stunner to Elton Prince. We had a haluva kick to Kit Wilson, and Sammy and Kevin retain in what was a very good match, and Pretty Deadly actually ended up looking fairly solid here. Pretty Deadly ended up looking fairly solid here, and Pretty Deadly put on a very good match, probably the best match that I've seen Pretty Deadly put on, probably since their match against Mustache Mountain. That was the last match that I can honestly remember that I was sitting back and watching going, man, this is a great match from Pretty Deadly. Pretty Deadly, less talking, and more wrestling. Less of the theatrics and more of the actual wrestling. And you know what? Pretty Deadly will end up being a solid addition to the WWE Tag Team division in the end. Ridge Holland, he took on Austin Theory. Ridge Holland actually came in with his former rugby jersey. I thought that was very nice. We had a butterfly suplex by Ridge Holland. Theory took over. Ridge tried to mount the comeback with a couple of belly-to-belly suplexes. Theory then with a roll-through drop kick, and Theory wins. Really a nothing match. And Theory, I really don't know what's going on, man, but Theory just really isn't hitting the same. They really haven't done anything with Theory. It's like after the draft, Theory has just become an afterthought. And I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't think that's right. That's not right whatsoever. Theory deserves a lot better. He's had some great matches. He's had some great moments. He beat John Cena. He had a very nice match with Seth Rollins. He won the Chamber. He had a very nice triple threat match with Reed and Bobby Lashley back at Backlash. He had a very good match with Sheamus a couple weeks ago. He's going to have a very good match with Sheamus again. He's booked for a match with Sheamus next week, and he's going to put on a very good match. I'm sure of it. But what's going to happen then? Are they going to give Sheamus the United States Championship? I wouldn't. But to be quite honest with you, it really wouldn't shock me if Sheamus ends up winning, because at the end of the day, Sheamus has been complaining that WWE really dropped the ball on the Brawling Brutes. So if Sheamus is complaining that WWE dropped the ball on the Brawling Brutes, then it would kind of make sense that WWE would give Sheamus the United States Championship to just kind of shut him up, I guess. I don't know. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that whatsoever. If anything, I would build up Cameron Grimes. Cameron Grimes versus Austin Theory at SummerSlam, and I would give the U.S. title to Cameron Grimes. I love Austin Theory, but you can tell when it's time, and right now it's time. It's time for him to lose the championship. Shotzi versus Bayley, and if Shotzi won, she would get Bayley's spot in the Women's Money in the Bank qualifying match. No one really gave a shit. Bayley won with the Rose Plant, and then afterwards, Shotzi tried to attack both of them afterwards, and Shotzi ended up getting her green haircut, which I don't really understand why. I didn't really give a shit about that. But in the end, Shotzi got her green haircut, and we are off to the races with Shotzi looking for revenge on Damage Control. Now, if anything, no matter what happens, we should indeed see Io Sky get the win. I expect absolutely nothing less. If it doesn't, I am going to shit all over it. Grayson Waller effect with Logan Paul. The crowd was giving Logan Paul the beats when it came to the crowd reaction. They were just laying into him. They were really, really laying into him. So afterwards, we got ourselves a big, and I mean a big fucking pop. Big fucking pop for LA Knight. LA Knight came out and the crowd went fucking ballistic. So he goes, I am the one and only megastar in this match, and you're standing in my ring. Everyone's saying his name, and he did LA Knight. Paul then called the crowd drunk and told them to go home. Santos Escobar came out. Butch came out. He absolutely decked Logan Paul, and we go into commercial, and we get ourselves a little triple threat match with Santos Escobar, Butch, and LA Knight. Knight was in firm control. So fucking over is LA Knight. It's unbelievable. We had a back suplex by Knight. That got a 2 count. We had a Hurricane Rana by Escobar. We had a Hurricane Rana by Knight. We had a top rope Hurricane Rana by Escobar taking out Butch. Escobar then took out Logan Paul with a suicide dive. We had a big forearm by Butch and a bitter end, and Butch ended up getting the win. I have no issue with that. I'm glad that Butch got the win, and I'm glad that he got a little bit of a showcase in his home country. Afterwards, we had a big melee, and Butch ended up standing tall. Butch stood tall, and he ended up holding up the briefcase. So I thought that was a very nice moment for Butch, and I'm actually very much looking forward to seeing what he's going to do in the ladder match. Very much so. I think it's going to be a great match, and I think that Butch is going to have a nice showcase. Charlotte Flair. She took on Asuka for the WWE Women's Championship, and this was a terrible match. I don't know what the fuck happened here, but there was a lot of miscommunication, a lot of fucking botches. I don't know what it was, but it must have been ring rust on Charlotte's part, because this was not good whatsoever. And yes, fuck Charlotte Flair. Fuck Charlotte Flair all day, every day. Not good at all. Not good whatsoever. A lot of miscommunication here. Charlotte with a very weak-ass looking spear. Weak-ass looking spear. Bianca was in the front row. So, I mean, how did you think this was going to fucking work out? How did you think this was going to work out? Bianca was at ringside. What do you think was going to happen? I'll tell you exactly what happened. Asuka pulled Bianca Belair. Right into the line of fire. Pulled Bianca right into the line of fire. And we saw Bianca jump the barricade, and she got involved. Caused a DQ. And then she gave Asuka and Charlotte both KODs onto the table. So let me ask you all a question. Why exactly didn't we just build towards the triple threat match at SummerSlam? Because we all know that's where this is heading. This is heading towards Bianca, Charlotte, and Asuka at SummerSlam for the WWE Women's Championship in a triple threat match, which should be fine in the end. But I'm telling you right now, why exactly? Why do we need to go through a waste of a fucking match, a match that was sloppy with a lot of miscommunication? Why do we need to go through that when you could have given Asuka anyone else on the fucking roster? Hell, you could have given fucking Zelina Vega a women's title opportunity. You could have given fucking, who else is on SmackDown? You could have given fucking Alba Fire or Isla Dawn a title opportunity against Asuka. You could have knocked that out of the way, and then you could have actually built towards Asuka, Bianca, and Charlotte at SummerSlam. But no, instead we need this waste of a fucking match, this sloppy-ass match, which ends in a DQ, just like every other fucking match that WWE does. Stupid. Fucking stupid. Main event. Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa, and Paul Heyman. Roman Reigns came out and he said that I will be giving my cousins a second, a third, and a fourth chance, but you need to come out here and acknowledge me. So Jimmy came out and he goes, you think we trying to get back into the bloodline? You never even talked about what happens if you lose. What happens if you lose at Money in the Bank? He said, when you lose, you ain't going to be the tribal chief no more, but I got someone who will be, someone who's got my vote. And they looked at Solo. And this was one of the best things that I think I've seen. Solo Sikoa, he was just standing there. Solo Sikoa was just standing there, and then all of a sudden, you see Roman look over at Solo. He starts laughing at Solo. And then he looks back over at Solo. Solo's got this stone face on like he's ready to fucking kill someone. Roman loses the smile. And we get a big brawl in which the Usos end up standing tall. And I think that this tag team match at Money in the Bank, this Bloodline Civil War, this is going to be one hell of a fucking match. This could be on the level of what Sammy and Kevin versus the Usos were. That's going to be fucking big. Other than that, outside of that and the opening match with Sammy Owens and Pretty Deadly, not a good show. Even with the crowd, just not a good show. Really not. Rampage, on the other hand, Rampage was a solid show. We got a lot of good wrestling on Rampage, actually. A lot of decent wrestling on Rampage. We kicked off Rampage with the Ring of Honor World Championship, and normally I would say that we need to get Ring of Honor off of AEW TV, but they haven't really done it all too often. We're halfway through the year, and I think we've only seen Ring of Honor on AEW television about 3 times. I mean, back in 2022, it was happening every week. But I actually didn't mind this. I thought that this was a very good match, and I actually loved the ending here. The ending here was actually something we haven't seen in a long, long time. So Claudio Castagnoli defended the Ring of Honor World Championship against Commander. And I thought that these two put on a very, very good match for what it was. Easily the best match on the show. So Claudio slammed Commander down. Claudio, then with the swing, round and round and round he goes. We had Commander diving to the outside with a modified arm drag on Claudio. Claudio then booted Commander over the barricade. Back in the ring, Claudio with a DDT. That got a 2. Coming back from commercial, Commander with a Hurricane Rana off the top rope to Claudio. Commander with the Deja Vu Rana. I thought that was very well executed. Commander with the fake out. And then Commander with a huge plancha over the top rope, taking out Claudio. Commander, this was crazy right here. Commander draped Claudio over the barricade and delivered a shooting star press off of the barricade to Claudio as he was draped over the barricade. I thought that was a great fucking spot right there. Back in the ring, Commander then with a twisting Hurricane Rana landed right on his fucking feet. Cover on Claudio, that got a 2. Claudio then with a clothesline. Commander stayed alive. We had a huge double jump tornado DDT by Commander, damn near close 2 count. Commander, like a fucking maniac, a springboard Phoenix splash, connected fucking perfectly, and Commander still got a 2 count. The shooting star press then missed. Commander went for another dive, and Commander caught a nasty fucking uppercut right in midair. Claudio fucking decked Commander, and the ref actually waved off the match. He called for the bell. We haven't seen that in a while. We haven't seen that ending in a while on AEW television. So you know what? I actually like that ending. And you know what? If they want to, you could play off Claudio's uppercut as a dangerous fucking uppercut. You could play off Claudio's uppercut as the knockout blow. I think that would be a great secondary finisher for him if you were to play that off. You could really do a lot of damage with that uppercut, and there's a lot of leeway with it. It's so simple too, but yet so effective. So I actually like that ending. Claudio knocked Commander out with the uppercut. I thought that was very, very nice. Shawn Spears versus The Blade. This was a quick match. Shawn Spears pretty much was only on the show because it's Canada. Shawn Spears won with the C4. I would love to see Shawn Spears on television a bit more. But it seems like he's just content. Seems like he's just content with being on TV every once in a while and taking care of his kid and training the future. I guess that's all that Shawn Spears is going to be known for right now. But I mean, like, he's in great fucking shape. Shawn Spears is over 40 years old, and he's in phenomenal fucking shape. I would love to see him on television a bit more. I think he's great. He's awesome. As much as I love Shawn Spears, this is a negative on the show. Not because it was a bad match, not because Shawn Spears is not great, but Shawn Spears did not need to be on the show. Shawn Spears did not need to be on the show. It did not need to happen. QT Marshall and Johnny TV versus Matt Hardy and Isaiah Cassidy. Listen, I'm not going to say this was a bad match, because it wasn't. It was a decent tag team match, and everyone played their roles just fine. Decent little match, and everyone, they worked. They went out there and they wrestled, and I'm glad that we're getting some decent wrestling on Rampage. But I mean, holy fuck, man. Like, you cannot tell me, like, even if you're an AEW fan, you cannot tell me that no matter how decent this match was, you can't fucking tell me that you care about QT Marshall. He's a great wrestler. Do not get me wrong. The guy can wrestle. I thought that what he did here in this tag team match with Johnny TV, Matt Hardy, and Isaiah Cassidy, I thought that everyone worked out very well. And Matt Hardy, he can still move around, and he's still working pretty decently. I think that Matt is actually in better shape than Jeff Hardy's in. But I mean, I don't give a shit. This storyline sucks. Nobody gives a shit. And the Acclaimed is not going to benefit from this either. This is a weak fucking program with the Acclaimed and QT and Johnny TV. If anything, the Acclaimed should be challenging FTR for the Tag Team Championships. And we should be getting the Acclaimed in FTR Part 2. Because they put on a fucking banger of a match back in December. They put on a fucking banger. But again, look, storyline sucks. But the match was decent. The match was not bad at all. I'm not going to sit here and say that it was, because everyone worked out pretty decently here. So Cassidy with a Hurricane Rana on Johnny TV. Johnny then with a tornillo through the ropes, taking out Cassidy. John Morrison, even at 40 years old, he can still move around very, very well. Looks like that parkour training is coming into very good use with him, I will say. So coming back from commercial, QT Marshall was caught with a Hurricane Rana, tagged to Matt. Matt Hardy with the body slams on QT Marshall. He was coming in with some quick offense, nice side effect on QT. The alley-oop powerbomb on Johnny for a 2. I actually like that alley-oop powerbomb that Matt Hardy does. We had a springboard by Johnny. Matt kicked out. Springboard knee. Matt kicked out. We had a tag to Cassidy, and Cassidy delivered poetry in motion over the top rope. Cassidy flew over the top onto QT and Johnny. We had a side effect. Harley got distracted, or Harley caused a distraction. Harley Cameron caused a distraction, and QT tripped up Orange Cassidy, and we ended up getting Starship Pain by Johnny TV, and Johnny TV ended up winning the match. Great. Johnny TV got a win. I'm happy about that. Great. We had a decent match. The storyline still sucks. I don't care. I don't care. Afterwards, Ethan Page, who's apparently trying to go babyface now, Page tried to attack Johnny and QT from a beatdown before the Acclaimed came out to run them off. And that was that. Main event was Hikaru Shida versus Taya Valkyrie. This was actually a decent little home stretch of a match right here. It's only went about 11, 12 minutes. But Shida's on TV. I love Shida. Shida's great. Shida with some heavy strikes. Shida with an enziguri. Taya came in with a leg sweep. And then she bashed Shida's leg against the ring post. Coming back from commercial, Shida tried to mount the comeback with some strikes and a high knee. Shida then with a suplex on the floor and a Meteora off the apron. We had a rolling elbow for a 2. Taya then with a double Meteora in the corner. Taya got a 2 count. Taya with a roll-up. Shida reversed it and rolled up Taya Valkyrie for a 2 count. And Shida wins a decent little sprint of a match. And Shida, if they want to, I would not mind Shida being a challenger for Chris Statlander. I think that would be a great maneuver for Chris Statlander going forward to be in a program with Hikaru Shida. I actually think that would be a great match that you could put on Collision, really hype up Collision a bit more. So Shida gets the win. Decent little show on Friday. I actually was saying that it was better than SmackDown, and it actually was. Rampage hasn't been bad. Rampage in the last month hasn't been bad, minus a couple of things. But it has not been must-see. I'm not going to say it's been must-see, but it hasn't been bad. It hasn't been bad whatsoever. That was your weekly show reviews, and that wraps up this edition of the Lightning Flash Update. You guys have been great. We're wrapping it up a little bit early. We're actually clocking in at under 2 hours. I'm getting set to go work out. I'm going to pump the guns, and then I'm getting a nice Subway sandwich afterwards. I hope that you guys have had a really, really, really fun time. Thank you all for all the support. You guys make DJ Storms fun. You guys have made DJ Storms worthwhile, and I cannot wait to jump on the stream once again tomorrow because my man, Mac the Giants fan of Hardcore Sports, he's going to be joining me for the rewind for WWE Money in the Bank 2023. It's going to be big. I got Hula Grim coming on the channel towards the end of the month on the 25th of July for the rewind for Death Before Dishonor. I got Jay Leto coming on for the rundown, and I got one of my friends from California, Sherry. She's going to be coming on the rundown for NXT The Great American Bash. We got plenty of shit going down in the next month. We got SummerSlam. We got All In. Plenty of good material. But until next time, I hope you guys enjoyed the nice early stream that we had here today. Until next time, I hope that you enjoy Money in the Bank. I hope you enjoy Collision. And as of course, I'm DJ Storms. This has been the Lightning Flash update. But before we get out of here, people, let me hear it from y'all. Who runs the IWC? With everybody saying his name, who? But DJ motherfucking Storms. And don't you forget it.
Cause we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution. Yeah, we ran out of patience. Boil up with the cold heart.